Hey guys, Ryan said, Lake St. Clair fishing guy. It's been a while since I did one of these videos, but it's getting to be one of my favorite times of year for a certain type of bait, and that is throwing a soft jerk bait. And so I wanted to make a video about some of the techniques that I use. I will say off the top, it is not usually the most productive technique. You will usually catch more fish on a drop shot or a swim bait, but if you want to have some fun, kind of like frog fishing for smallmouth, about as close as you're going to get. I think a soft jerkbait is a fantastic way to catch these fish under certain circumstances. So it doesn't work all of the time. Today is kind of overcast and it didn't work that great today. We caught a few, but not as good as ideal conditions. For me, the ideal conditions, I like to throw these Strike King caffeine shad, and you can see it's a bright bait. So you would think under overcast conditions it would work great, and you catch some, but really the ideal conditions for this thing are going to be when it is sunny and either calm or just a little ripple to the water. They're a very lightweight bait, and so keeping them down in the water column is kind of important. Not all the way down where you can't see it, but when you've got a lot of wave action, it's hard to keep control of that bait. So my ideal conditions for this are, like I said, sunny and just a little ripple to the water, or even flat calm. And the other thing is, what that allows me to do is I can see this bait from a long ways away. And that's why I said it's kind of like frog fishing. You get to watch the fish eat it a lot of times. So if you have those conditions, clear water is kind of a must as well. I like to be able to see the bottom. If I can't see the bottom, I don't usually throw this thing because, you know, I want to make sure that they can see it come up and get it. So anywhere from, say, 4 feet all the way out to 10, 11, and 12 feet. I'm going to show you a technique I use in a little bit of deeper water as well in just a second. In the shallow water, I like to throw the full-size caffeine shad. This siren color is my favorite. I do throw the bubble gum, or there's like a white ice type color that I'll throw sometimes as well. But this one's a lot of fun to throw because you can see it from a long ways away. And what's cool about it is it kind of lights up the water around it, so you see the fish coming to get it better than you do with other colors, just because of how bright this thing is. So you really get a good visual visual what's going on when the fish attack this bait. So if you get those ideal conditions, I like to throw this caffeine shad. I like to rig it on a 5/0 Gamakatsu finesse hybrid worm hook. And that's kind of like an EWG hook, but I feel like it does a little bit better job than an EWG hook does. I do leave it so that the hook is exposed. I don't really find a need to, out here for the smallmouth, you don't really need to put the hook back into the bait at all. You can leave it exposed and you're going to get a better hookup that way. I like that hook because it's got a really slick finish to it. It's a little thinner diameter than a regular EWG hook, and I've had some good success with that. This is a bait you're going to miss some fish with. Like I said, kind of like frog fishing, you are going to miss some with this bait. It is a reaction, but it's a lot of fun too. So, so that's why I like to throw it. Finishing out the rigging, I like to throw it on a pretty stiff rod. This is a Dobbins Champion 705. 704 would probably work as well. I like the 705 because when I twitch the rod, and I'll show you some of the technique in the video, I really get a good snap out of that bait. It's more to give the action to that bait. The rod doesn't really flex at all, and it really makes that bait dart hard. So that's why I like that really stiff rod. This is a Lew's Hyper Speed. This is a 10.1. I did a video before on some of the benefits of this reel. I like to be able to catch up to my bait quickly, especially when I see a fish, or if I see there's not a fish, to get it back in quickly so I can get it back out there. Or if you see a breaking fish, to get it in quickly and get it back out there. And then once you do hook a fish, this reel really gives you a lot of control. So that's kind of the setup. We've got some ideal conditions. We've got a good setup. I like to make a long cast with this bait as far as I can throw it. And then I try to keep it just in that visual range. If you watch old Jimmy Houston videos, he talked about keeping the spinnerbait right where you can see it. Kind of the same deal here. I like to let it sink a little bit, and I'll twitch it where I can see it again. I let it sink and twitch it where I can see it again. And here's a couple of tricks. If you see a fish behind it, it's actually a good idea to speed up your bait. They think it's getting away and they will go after it. And the key word is you want to make it go fast, but not far. Meaning I'm going to make it work really fast, but I'm not actually trying to move that bait very far. What happens is the fish will come right up behind it, they will run into the bait, and when they run into the bait, that's when they eat it. If you move it far, they'll chase it and just kind of keep chasing it. But if you can get them to run into it, get them excited by moving it fast, that's when you have your best chance of them coming up and actually eating the bait and getting it really good. So that's kind of my deal with the soft jerkbait. This is the one I throw anywhere from 4 out to about 6-7 feet or so. If we get deeper than that, I actually like to throw a spinning rod. And so the rigging for that, it's the Strike King caffeine shad as well, but I go to the smaller size, and I put a little bit of a nail weight in it. This is a Dobbins 1/16 ounce nail weight, and I nip the head off, so I've just got the shaft of the nail weight, and I stick it in there. Helps it sink a little bit better. This is a 3/0 Gamakatsu finesse hybrid finesse worm hook here. So as opposed to the 5/0, this smaller bait, I put the 3/0 in it. I do put a swivel on it with the spinning rod. It seems to help, again, keep the bait down a little bit. I throw this one out in the deeper water. So anytime I get out to anywhere from 7 to out to 12 or 13, 14 feet, again, I like to be able to see the bottom. This is a much slower technique. This one, this guy here, he's kind of a bird dog. He's gonna show you where fish are at. It's a fast technique, shallow water. I'm trying to locate fish. This is more once I've located the fish, it gives them another look. So you found some fish, you're catching them on a drop shot, and now you want something they'll look up even higher to. This is a good technique for that. So I do throw this one on a Dobbins spinning rod. This is the Champion Extreme 703, so a medium action. Hyper mag reel, and that's 15-pound P-line no fade braid with a 10-pound leader. And I should have mentioned on my bait caster, I throw 15-pound P-line tactical on that one. So a little bit heavier line it's a little more high impact when you're in shallow water. You get excited, you get to see them, you're swinging on them hard, and so you need a little bit heavier line there. So, so hopefully that will help you a little bit. If you get those clear conditions where you can see the bottom, you get that high sun, not too much wind, this is a really fun way to fish. Think about your technique. A nice little sachet is a real good way to do it. Kind of keep it where you can see it. And then if you see a fish behind it, speed it up a little bit. Try to get them to come into it. I do in the deeper water sometimes let this guy sink out of sight and fish it out of sight a little bit. But even in that deeper water, relatively deep, 10 to 12 feet, they will still come from a long way to get this, even where you can see it. So don't be afraid to twitch this one, even the top couple feet of the water column out in that deep water. But I do let it sink sometimes as well. So hopefully those are some techniques that can help you out. Feel free to reach out to me on any social media or email. Happy to chat more about it. I love throwing this bait. It's a great time of year to do it here in the spring and early summer, and hope you enjoy that and catch some fish on it.